The cargo bay of the Helios Drift reeked of burnt metal and ozone. Logan Pierce wiped the sweat from his brow, his mechanic's jumpsuit stained with grease and coolant from another 14-hour shift. The salvage freighter had just departed from Station Cryos 9, a decrepit outpost on the edge of the Viridian expanse where the galaxy's worst came to do their dirtiest business. As Logan made his way through the dimly lit corridors, he heard it, a low guttural growl that made his blood run cold. It came from the aft storage section, a place usually reserved for jettisoned cargo and refuse waiting to be spaced. He paused, hand instinctively moving to the plasma cutter on his belt. Probably just the ventilation system, he muttered, but his feet carried him forward anyway. What he found made him freeze. Chained to the bulkhead was a creature unlike anything Logan had seen in his 5 years traversing the outer systems. She was massive, easily 2 meters at the shoulder, with midnight black fur that seemed to absorb the light around her. Her body was covered in bioluminescent markings that pulsed a faint, sickly blue. 4 eyes arranged in pairs tracked his every movement with predatory intelligence. Her muzzle was long and lined with serrated teeth designed for rending flesh from bone. Vexa. That's what the manifest had called her. A Crovath, a species known throughout the galaxy as apex predators from the death world of Skarnath. The same species that had torn through an entire mining colony on Epsilon 7 3 years ago. But it wasn't just Vexa that caught Logan's attention. Huddled behind her, barely visible in the shadows, were 3 cubs. They were small mewling things, their bioluminescent patterns flickering weakly like dying stars. Jesus Christ, Logan whispered. The Crovath's chains were old, corroded. One of her hind legs was bent at an unnatural angle, clearly broken. Her breathing was labored, and her ribs showed through her matted fur. The cubs looked no better, starved, dehydrated, and terrified. Logan accessed the cargo manifest on his wrist terminal. His jaw clenched as he read the file. Cargo designation. Hazardous biological waste origin. Skarnath breeding facility condemned. Destination deep space disposal. Status. Awaiting jettison, they were going to space them. The Galactic Commerce Guild had shut down illegal breeding operations across the sector, and rather than deal with the merchandise, they'd simply condemned the animals to death. No trial, no sanctuary, just cold, efficient extermination. Vexa's 4 eyes met his, and in that moment Logan saw something he'd never expected to see in a creature labeled as deadly and irredeemable. He saw a mother's desperation. This is insane, he told himself. She's a killing machine. They all are. But his hand was already moving to his terminal, overriding the cargo bay's environmental controls. The Crovath could survive in a vacuum for nearly 30 seconds before their organs ruptured. Long enough to suffer, not long enough to hope. Logan's finger hovered over the jettison override. Company protocol was clear. Interfering with hazmat disposal meant termination, possibly even criminal charges. The Crovath were classified as Class 5 xenofauna, shoot on sight in most systems. One of the cubs whimpered, pressing closer to its mother's emaciated body. Damn it. Logan killed the jettison sequence and opened the supply locker. He grabbed a med kit, 3 ration packs, and a portable water recycler. As he approached Vexa, she bared her teeth, a warning growl reverberating through the chamber. Easy, Logan said softly, hands raised. I'm not going to hurt you. Vexa's growl intensified, but she didn't lunge. She couldn't. The chains held her fast, and even if they hadn't, Logan suspected she lacked the strength. He tossed a ration pack near the cubs. They recoiled at first, then hunger overrode fear. They tore into the nutrient paste with savage efficiency. Vexa watched them eat, her luminescent markings pulsing slightly brighter. Logan activated the medkit's diagnostic scanner. The readout made him wince. Multiple fractures, severe malnutrition, internal bleeding. She needed a real doctor, not a grease monkey with basic first aid training. But he did what he could. He set up the water recycler within reach of the cubs and carefully applied dermal regenerators to Vexa's worst wounds. She watched him with those 4 unblinking eyes, calculating, assessing. You understand me, don't you? Logan asked quietly. I've read the reports. Crovath have near-human intelligence. You know exactly what almost happened here. Vexa's ears twitched. Not quite an answer, but acknowledgement enough. Over the next 3 days, Logan returned whenever his shifts allowed. He brought food, water, and medical supplies. all stolen from the ship's inventory in ways that wouldn't trigger immediate alarms. The cubs grew stronger, their markings brightening to a healthy azure. Vexa remained wary but stopped growling when he entered. On the fourth day, the Helios Drift's captain discovered the discrepancies in the cargo manifest. "Pierce, what the hell did you do?" Captain Morrigan's voice crackled over the intercom. "Get to the bridge, now." Logan's heart sank. He made one final trip to the cargo bay, carrying a plasma torch. Vexa watched as he approached her chains. "I'm probably going to lose my job for this," he said, cutting through the first restraint. "Might even do time. But I've seen enough death in this job. I'm tired of being part of it." The chains fell away one by one. Vexa stood on shaky legs, testing her weight on the newly healed limb. Her cubs gathered around her, and for the first time, Logan saw something other than fear in their eyes. "There's an escape pod on Deck C," Logan said, uploading coordinates to a data chip he placed near Vexa's paw. "It'll take you to Sanctuary Station. They don't ask questions there. You'll be safe." Vexa regarded him for a long moment. Then slowly, deliberately, she lowered her massive head and pressed her forehead against his chest. It was brief, barely 3 seconds, but it was enough. Logan smiled sadly. "Go," before they locked down the corridors. As Vexa and her cubs disappeared into the ship's labyrinthine passages, Logan turned toward the bridge. He'd face whatever came next, because some things mattered more than protocol. Some things mattered more than fear, and sometimes, being human meant having second thoughts when the rest of the galaxy had already moved on.